Shove it, man!
Alright, Shove It Squad, you are truly the filthiest bunch of individuals in the world, so who's ready to take a shower because it's time for NWA Powerr? Yes, Billy Corgan's wacky company still exists for some reason, and people are interested in it. But not actually interested enough to actually watch the show, so the Hawk will do it for you. Last time out, it quite frankly sucked. They split their Looks That Kill pay-per-view into 5 separate shows to save money, and they broadcast them on the former Twitter. If you try to watch the shows when they aren't live on X, too bad, you fucked up, you've missed it and you will never see it again. Even the NWA website offers you the chance to watch past shows on X, but when you click the link it leads to nothing. What an incredible business model that is. Shows that people have no way of watching. This is appalling. It's no wonder nobody watches this show. Even if you're messed up enough to actually want to see the shows, you won't be able to no matter how hard you try. I did eventually figure it out, and I'll explain how at the end of the video. Fortunately though, the Hawk is more messed up than you guys, and today we'll be watching the final 2 parts of that pay-per-view, which includes a double steel cage main event. Quite interested to see how that goes in Billy Corgan's crazy world. Will EC3 regain the world title? Will his cult make an appearance? Has he shaved off his pot noodle haircut? All that and more in today's video. Well, in retrospect, the answer to 2 of those questions was yes. But more importantly, I've decided that EC3 is just trolling us all. There's no way that any wrestler on this planet would act the way that EC3 does on this upcoming video. He's either having a laugh at all of our expense, or he's got something seriously wrong with him. Every show it's something different with this guy. He's so inconsistent, but one thing is consistent, and that's the insanity that he brings. The show starts out with Damien Sandow and his Doom 2.0 tag team Rodney Mack and Marshe Rocket. One of the guys they're meant to be facing tonight has torn his bicep, so no idea who's filling in for him. Damien Sandow has tried to tidy himself up, but he looks like Robbie E. For some reason it looks like the building is on fire. Lev is teaming up with Alexander Misery after he lost a loser must serve the other forever matchup. They're facing Josh Alexander Jr. with hair and John Morrison if he never saw a gym. Seriously NWA, the amount of people I've seen in the last month alone on your show who shouldn't be on TV is insane. Misery throws his own partner at the opponents. Bad move as they catch him and use him as a battering ram. Josh Alexander Jr. throws his own partner with a German suplex into the opponents. Morrison isn't grateful for that and he hits a dropkick and a cannonball in the corner. Lev and Misery do a poetry in motion for a 2. Wait, so it's not a tag team match, it's a fatal 4-way for the junior heavyweight title? Who's the champion? Why has it been wrestled like a tag team match for the first few minutes? Why did this belt have a 125 pound weight limit? If you weigh as little as that, the weight limit is pretty irrelevant. Morrison almost rolls up Josh Alexander Jr. and then he throws himself out of the ring into the other guys. He springboards back into the ring with a dropkick for a 2. The Servant crew keep throwing him around and working together. They hit a diving netbreaker Samoan drop combination. They're idiots though and they argue over who's going to make the pin. Alexander starts trying to throw people with German suplexes, but Lev isn't having that. What kind of a name for a wrestler is Lev? He takes out Morrison Jr. and puts on a deathlock, which is quickly broken up by Misery. The Servant crew continue arguing. Misery dives off his manservant's back to hit a flip dive to the outside. He tries another, but a manager causes a distraction. Alexander Jr. hits an apron powerbomb whilst Morrison Jr. hits a code red into the ring, but he doesn't make a pin. He goes for a springboard moonsault, which is caught by Alexander, who crushes him into the mat. He puts on his submission finisher, which makes Morrison tap out, whilst Alex Misery is crawling around right in front of them. Break it up, you moron! What a mess. The crowd is in silence, and a bell doesn't even ring for a while to show that it's the end of the match, so I think everyone was just confused about this match and how it ended. Former Spirit Squad member and current member of the BBWs, that's Bold Boys Wrestling, Mike Mondo is here. He shakes with anger and rage as he struggles to control the roid swimming in his body. He threatens Pirate Paul Burchill because he's jealous of how he hasn't had the same career opportunities. Then he steals Raven's "What About Me" gimmick. Why is he shaking so much?
What about me? What about Mondo? And it's gonna be my time. Mondo time. Gut check time.
The TV champion, who is rarely on TV, happily tells us that he'll be back in Dolphin, Alabama this month. How did the NWA decide on that? Flip a coin? The Mondo vs Pirate match is next. Mike Mondo is a small, angry man. He looks like Hank off Breaking Bad if he found fitness in his life. Pirate hits a short arm clothesline and a reverse atomic drop before sending Mondo out of the ring. The commentary team desperately explain how great Paul Burchill is, despite looking like the biggest jobber on this show since joining the company. Mondo grabs an eyelash to turn the match temporarily until his double axe is countered with a punch to the gut. Mondo smashes Burchill from behind. This guy's like Scott Steiner during his roid rage gimmick. Mondo traps his arm in the buckle pad as Burchill desperately tries to make sure it doesn't fall back out of the pad. It looks so stupid. Now Burchill has to pretend that his leg is trapped in the ring apron. Mondo smacks the Pirate down for a 2. He moves on to use a sleeper whilst Mondo desperately pants to get some air into his lungs. Burchill fights that off and he throws Mondo with a German suplex. Not once, not twice, but thrice, and it sure wasn't nice. Just a 2 count. Mike Mondo starts charging around like a raging bull and he's almost rolled up for the 3. Burchill smacks him back down again and he heads to the top, but Mondo cuts him off. Mike Mondo hits a middle rope suplex and he almost pays for that when Burchill just cradles him straight from it. There's a strange ending to this match too. 2 matches in a row. Burchill throws Mondo's leg at the referee, the ref catches it. Mondo gives the referee a nipple cripple, which distracts the referee, and Mondo kicks him in the slash zone and rolls him up for the 3. Paul Burchill is terrible. I'm sorry, nobody would pay a dime to see this guy wrestle ever again. He's past his sell-by date and it's time he was binned. Mike Mondo? To be honest, the Hawk found this guy interesting enough, and I'd like to see him go balls to the wall with his roid rage. It would totally work. He already seems completely unhinged, even if he should have been DQ'd for giving the referee a nipple cripple. Suddenly, EC3 appears in the ring with slapnut sunglasses from the year 2000 and nipples that look like a cow on milking day. This is the first time he's appeared in the ring since his last match. He calls Dolphin Alabama strange. He also thinks the new heavyweight title was the most prestigious wrestling title in current day. He starts promising that he's going to beat Bram for the belt, which brings him to the ring. Bram is looking rather smart tonight. EC3 stands comically frozen like one of his mute promos with Dean Ambrose from his last WWE run. Bram takes the mic from his hand. He says this feud has been going on for too long as EC3 looks like he's developing a nervous tic. He swears it'll end on the cage on the next show. EC3 just randomly crawls out of the ring. He walks away like a petrified swan. What on earth is going on with this guy? I'm starting to think it's all just one big joke that we aren't in on. The tag title match is next. Doom 2.0 would take on Kratos and his mystery tag team partner would be... Oh yeah, it's Baron Von Storm who carries a miniature globe to the ring as he has the world in the palm of his ass. Everybody looks frightened of his little ball. What an exciting matchup. Rodney Mack and Storm to start. Mack is about to hit a splash when Storm menacingly walks in with his claw hand. Doom 2.0 dump in their nappies with fear and leave the ring. They hide out there for a while, 2 minutes in fact. When they return, Storm boxes the Mack and shoulders him in the corner. The tag is made. Kratos smacks the Matt Militant. He eventually hits a suplex too. This so far is the slowest match of all time. He throws the Matt with another suplex and pulls up his nappy. Rocket takes a cheap shot from the outside so the Matt can hit a clothesline and tag out for the very first time. He does literally nothing and tags the Matt back in. They start hitting splashes in the corner and the owner of the dog pound hits a cab driver slam, but it's not over. Rodney Mack should really consider some new ring gear. Marshay Rocket does a snap mare into a nerve hold. This also lasts a very long time because everything in this match is moving in slow motion. Baron Von Storm ends up taking a cheap shot so that Kratos can hit a snap slam. Tim Storm has so much fake tan on that I thought he was one of the Doom guys. Kratos belly flops to make the tag, but Storm has been taken off the apron. Rocket kicks Kratos in the head, which he no-sells, and he smashes Rocket with a knee. Big Falcon Arrow from Kratos now, and he does make the tag. Storm beats them up in slow motion, and at this point, I think I was just about okay with Tim Storm hitting a Samoan drop. He works a camel clutch until Damien Sandow distracts him. He pays for that as Storm locks him in the claw. Kratos stops anybody from breaking that up. Tim Storm's laughing and cackling with Sandow in the ring. The Mac eventually weakly chop blocks him and they all collapse in an exhausted pile on the mat, and that, my little friends, is somehow the 3. How could that possibly count when the manager was lying on top of Tim Storm? 3 matches, 3 bad finishes in a row. Tim Storm refuses to let Sandow out of the claw as his guys make half-hearted attempts to break up the hold. I don't think they like him very much. Kratos eventually shows Tim Storm his little globe, which makes him calm down enough to claw the globe instead of Sandow's peanut head. Everyone looks annoyed and it's over. That was the first episode of Powerr. Can you imagine actually going out of your way to watch this show? Everything just seems like one big joke. On to the second episode of Powerr we go. But before we can get into those cage matches, we have to get through one more pointless irrelevant match. I say that because neither of these 2 damn people have been on the show lately. In fact, I've no idea who the first guy, Tyler Franks, even is. I've watched this show for months now, and I'm pretty sure I've never seen him before. So it begs the question, why is this match even on the show? The non-binary nightmare Max the Impaler only ever bothers to turn up on their big shows. I didn't care about this match, I fell asleep. Max won with a clothesline, I believe. On to more important matters. It was announced that Natalia will actually be wrestling for this company in May. She must have seen my videos and realised just how much she's been missing out on. Tiffany Nieves has a promo. She is very excited for the first ever women's cage match in Alabama. She promises to brutalise her opponent. Get it? Got it? Bueno. Tiffany Nieves in a cage match. Hang on, why is one of the Page sisters a referee? I might be wrong, but come on NWA, if that is her, that's so unprofessional. Nieves is facing Natalia Markova, who charges down the ramp, and we make a quick start. Punches are exchanged for a while until Markova wins that battle. Tiffany comes back using a kendo stick and she destroys her with this thing. She moves on to choke her with the stick against the cage. She misses her next strike, but she reverses an Irish whip to send Markova into the cage. Now Nieves steals the referee's belt. I wonder what she was going for there, I was a bit worried. She belts Markova as her ass shakes in 6 different directions. Tiffany puts Markova in the Tree of Woe and she kicks her back to the mat. Markova is busted open now. Tiffany uses the belt to tie up Markova. She pulls the ultimate heel move by licking the red liquid off Markova's face. She decides it's time to climb the cage, but spends way too long pulling crazy faces into the camera. Markova frees herself and pulls her down. It's Markova's turn to use the cane. She gives Tiffany a white Russian leg sweep for a 2 count, but Nieves starts choking her from out of nowhere. This goes on for a while, but Markova won't tap. She ends up climbing the cage with Tiffany on her back, and they make it to the top where Tiffany hits a backpack, which the commentary team completely no-sell. I'd like to see them fall on their ass from the top of the cage, no-sell that. Tiffany Nieves hits a spear now for a 2 count. Up the cage we go again. They try to shake each other down as Markova shows she has a stronger grip. Nieves ends up barging the cage to make her lose her balance. They start fighting while stood on the top rope, and Markova once again manages to knock her down. She climbs to the tip top of the cage and has a Jeff Hardy moment before eventually flying off the top of the cage with a missile dropkick. That's how the match ends. Pretty decent, these two girls beat the hell out of each other and it ended with a big spot, so no complaints from the Hawk. Bram has a promo now about his cage match. The champion tries hard to remind us how dangerous these sort of matches are. Bram shouts out his time in TNA when he was a nutcase and he says he's going to bring that to the ring tonight. Here we go then. The challenger, EC3, enters to funky club music with flashing lights. And he has his damn Colt with him. Only 2 months late, but the Colt is back. They are the Exodus. Bram is the defending world champion. He almost cracks a smile as the announcer pronounces his home county wrong as Derbyshire. Bram has the opening exchanges as he pounds Ethan around the ring. EC3 reverses an Irish whip and hits a nice judo leg sweep. He tries to climb way too early and Bram catches him and they fight on the top rope. He ends up bashing his head into the cage to knock Ethan down. Then, oh wow, holy crap, Bram hits a moonsault onto EC3, I didn't even know he had that in him. EC3 sidesteps his next move and Bram smashes the cage. Ethan unwisely climbs again. Bram stops him and hits a top rope back suplex. Bram's turn to climb now, however he can't win as the Colt threatened to smack him out with a chair. EC3 simply throws him overhead and down to the mat. Ethan now retrieves the chair from the Pot Noodle fan club. He hits a diving head chair shot. He takes a seated rest for a bit before returning to using the chair. Now he throws the chair into Bram's face. He ends up wedging that into the corner by smacking it one. Bram makes a comeback of a jawbreaker and sends Ethan into the cage a whole bunch of times. He seems to have made the full comeback of an inverted atomic drop and clotheslines and a big spinning back suplex. But Ethan reverses his powerbomb and hits his own pop-up powerbomb. It's going okay, but then there's a ref bump. Bram hits the spear, but there's no ref. He decides his best course of action is to escape the cage when the Colt attack the other referee and there's no one to see that Bram has won. The Colt stomps Bram down and they throw the cage door into him a couple of times. Back in the cage he goes. EC3 gives thanks to somebody upstairs. He scratches his head trying to figure out what to do next and he eventually decides on a brutal pile driver. Still no ref though. He does eventually wake up but only counts to 2. Out of nowhere Bram whips EC3 into the chair from earlier on and also hits a pop-up powerbomb. He ain't done though and he even steals EC3's own move, the 1%er, and then he finishes him off with the pile driver. Wow. EC3 held all the cards and he still lost. Surely that's him done as a main eventer now. His Colt comically carry Ethan away. The commentary team ask, what is this all about? Well, we probably won't find out for another 2 months, so who cares? The problem is that there isn't a single credible wrestler in this company right now to challenge Bram. Silas Mason isn't quite ready, so I think Bram should have to deal with a roid rager now. I have to say, I enjoyed those last 2 matches, and by coincidence, they all involve people who are television ready. So that's NWA Powerr for another few weeks. If you enjoyed that show, good luck finding it. It took me 2 hours. So let me give you the tip on how to find it. Go onto their Twitter page and look under Media, and that's where you'll find it. Don't bother to try and find any links, there isn't any, just this random unpromoted way of finding the show. So there we go, I've officially spent more time than they did and done them a favour. And if you don't agree with that, watch your mouth and mind your behaviour.